Okay, this is a movie that I've wanted to talk about for a long time, but it's one of those that I just have never seen. It's been on my like movie bucket list for basically over a decade. It's a movie that a lot of people, almost all sports fans, have seen. It's considered one of the greatest movies about sports that's ever been made. It's a great baseball movie. It's called Moneyball. And it's starring Brad Pitt, and like a younger Chris Pratt is in it. The Activision CEO Bobby Kotick, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick, who's notoriously like one of the worst human beings and CEOs on the planet, is actually in this movie as the owner of the A's, which is very appropriate if you know anything about baseball. And the fact that the A's are kind of a garbage organization that's leaving Oakland under like really bad circumstances, and all the fans are pissed, and it's all that whole side story is like fascinating. But as for the movie, it's about the 2001 2002 Oakland A's, who were terrible. And they had no payroll compared to big market teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox. And the movie captures the essence of the behind the scenes that went into that season and the introduction of analytics into a sport that relies a lot on gut and instinct. Oh, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is the manager of the team. Brad Pitt plays Billy Beane, and he's the general manager who oversees personnel decisions and roster decisions and stuff like that. And if there's one criticism I have of the movie, I'll get that out of the way first. It's that some of the baseball scenes don't look that great. Bennett Miller, the director, knows his way around every single aspect of films, but the baseball scenes look kind of ethereal and dreamy, and they don't really work that well. For a baseball movie, that's kind of a bummer, but everything else about this movie is great. I like that this is not just a behind the scenes of baseball movie, and it digs in the analytics and all the stuff that make that 2001 2002 season so special, but it also dives into like a character study. It's not just a movie about the baseball stuff. It's a movie about the character of Billy Beane. And Brad Pitt deserves a lot of credit for diving headfirst into this role. He portrays all of the quirks and idiosyncrasies of Beane extremely well. Good example. I didn't know this about Billy Beane. He was the general manager of the A's at the time, and he never even went to games. He was also a bust as a highly touted baseball player in his younger years, who kind of flamed out and kind of sucked at actually playing baseball. And so as a result of that, you can tell, it's not outright stated, but you can tell that his failures as a baseball player translate to his almost like fear of watching the game in person, which is really, really fascinating. Jonah Hill plays his analytics guy, who he poaches away from another team. And it's all just kind of great. And if you don't like movies that are just mostly people talking, then this is one of those movies that isn't really for you. It's an acting showpiece from everybody involved across the board. And it's a good like history lesson into that particular era of baseball. And I love it. I really, really, really like this movie. It's a little, it drags in some spots, but I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, I think it's good because the movie really like takes time to stretch out its characters, and we really get to know everything about Billy Beane, and I think that's a really strong strength, a really good strength that the film has. So, I didn't. There was a lot of hype around Moneyball. It didn't like destroy my expectations. It didn't like blow me away. It didn't blow my socks off. But this is one of those that I really want to go back and revisit and watch in a couple years. And I feel like every time I watch it, I'm going to like it even more. I love movies that are acting showpieces. I love movies about character. I talk about character and acting and the performances all the time. And this is one of those movies. And if you haven't seen Bennett Miller's other big movie, it's called Foxcatcher. It's about like Olympic wrestling and the DuPont family and murder, and it's a drama. And again, another movie with lots of talking. It's got Channing Tatum, it's got Steve Carell, it's got Mark Ruffalo. That's another great movie that Bennett Miller directed, so I would recommend that one too. But if you haven't seen Moneyball, I know it's been out for a long time, and you love sports in general, it's great. And even if you don't love sports, that's what's nice about this movie. It also transcends you don't have to, it like transcends the need of a love for sports in order to enjoy it. So highly recommend. Big fan of Moneyball. Can't wait to watch it again in a couple of years. And I feel like it's really going to age well. Pitt's really freaking good in this movie, and Jonah Hill's really freaking good in this movie, and Chris Pratt for his role is really good in this movie. So if you like movies that have great acting and you have any sort of interest in baseball or sports in general, can't recommend Moneyball enough. So it's fantastic. Thank you so much for checking out the video. If you liked it, found it helpful, I hope you consider subscribing. You can also like and share the video. That tells YouTube, my overlords over there, that it's worth promoting. And hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think of Moneyball. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m.